Hey, welcome everybody. Glad you're here today. I'm here with my friends, Mike and Marisa. Welcome to the show. How are y'all?
Great. Thanks for
Doing
having us.
awesome. Max, thanks for having us.
Tell me, Mike, Marisa, what made y'all decide to get into real estate? Can you speak briefly about your journey and what you've been doing in real estate specifically?
Go ahead.
For me, I've been in real estate. It's all I've ever done. Right out of college, almost first day out of college, kind of stumbled into it. The market was really hot. That was in 2000. And I ran into somebody that offered me to be their buyer's agent, and I just never looked back. So I've just evolved it over the years into residential real estate, commercial real estate, investment real estate, and just putting it all together. And here I am 20 years later.
My story is a little bit different in the 20 years. Been self-employed for 29 years. And in 2003, I felt that my body's not going to sustain itself so long term, and I figured I had to have a way out. So my way out was just acquiring one rental property every year. So to fast forward, I picked up quite a few in the A-class community and educated myself in 2009 about the B-class community and how much greater the cash flow is, and grew up a nice size portfolio all on my own and my team, doing the construction stuff. Got about 28 doors, and then I started finding stuff out in the southeast suburbs of Chicago, and just took off from there. And man, today I've got a large portfolio myself, and we manage nearly about 380 doors today. So super excited about that, and we're pushing to go to 600 and see where it takes us. So we've done a lot of flips, hundreds and hundreds of flips throughout the years. Work with real estate investors, buying the distressed property, fix it up, sell it off to them for the cash flow, keep it in-house for the property management as well. For years, I would only manage what came to me organically, but other people are like, hey, you manage outside. I'm like, nope. Little priss that I was, but now I'm like, hey, I'll take it now. I want it now. I want your door. So that's kind of the long story, really short.
Very cool. Very cool. Yeah. It sounds super active, and both of y'all have a ton of experience. So I have so many different questions that I came up with that people in our community sent in. So, I'm just going to start firing it away. Is that okay?
Boom, go.
So Marisa, there's been, a disintermediation of realtors. Different companies have tried to, come in and say, hey, you don't need to work with a realtor anymore. Some have succeeded in some places with some downward pressure on rates, maybe flat fee, more online. There's been a kind of a rebound effect with that. And it seems like people still just want to work with a local person. I know that you've been doing it a while. What have you noticed? Have you noticed a trend in the realtor space for folks to do more online or more automated transactions or more transactions themselves? Or is the vast majority of the transactions still done, the way that it was done when you got started in it?
There's always options for people who want to do things on their own. But I find that when it comes down to it, if you have a cavity, you go to a dentist. You don't try and do that yourself. I've been doing this for 20 years, so I know how to get it done. I know how to push a deal across the finish line. I know how to pull comps. I know the market very well. I know how to get loans through. I know where to find funding. I know all the right players in the game. So there's a lot of value to working with somebody to help you get a deal done, and the value, we add that value. So when people are saying like they don't want to pay for a certain service or they don't want to pay a certain price for a service, my answer to that would be I bring the value there. So I'm gonna pay for myself in what I save you and what I bring to you. And most of my business is all referral based and repeat business for that reason.
Very cool. Mike, what about property management? We hear a lot in the circles that, we're in and, in the landlord community that property management it's not like the most glamorous job. it's not easy. And there's, folks out there who try to go it alone, and then they end up just either not being the right fit to even be a landlord. It's like they want to have the assets. They know that they need to build their balance sheet, but they either don't have just the disposition, or the systems. Can you speak a little to that and how you guys are able to, be so successful in a challenging industry?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. So, every deal needs four things: time, money, credit, and knowledge. And just like what Marissa's talking about, we bring the value. You leverage your money and your credit with our time and our knowledge, and you've got a system that will go on and it will produce cash flow. You're going to sit there and manage 1 to 5 or 10. I've done it. I came up to a roadblock at 28 doors. I don't know, there's something about 28 doors. I've heard other people get to that roadblock about 28, and they're like, man, it's just tough. You can't grow anymore. But I knew that at 28, I went to this mastermind and spoke to this guy and came back with a whole different attitude and just hiring the right people and moving forward. And, just went from 28 doors to close to 100 doors in a matter of a few years, just because I got out of my own way. So, I leveraged even my own time with other people's time, the OPT, right? So other people's time, other people's money, other people's knowledge, other people's credit. So property management is not something that somebody should be doing by themselves. It's going to cost them way more. You're going to fail a ton. And why would you want to fail? It's going to cost you time. It's going to cost you money. Why? That's just ridiculous. So we've already know all the systems. We know the people. We know the inspections. We know the villages. We know, like, we're not like know-it-alls, but, we failed a lot to get where we're at. It's a lot easier just to plug into somebody's system and go versus trying to figure it out yourself, because it's going to cost you a lot of headaches, man. And, people come to me and they're like, they'll buy a rental property for themselves. They'll manage it themselves. They'll be like, oh, I just want to sell it. I just want to sell it. Whoa, why? Why'd you do this to begin with? What was your why? I want cash flow. But you failed at property management. Hire the right property management, and you'll get the cash flow. So people have come to us for from other property management companies that are failing. They're like, oh man, I got rent in 6 months. Let me fix it. And they want to sell it. Like, you don't want to sell it right now. You're selling a turd. You can polish it. You can do whatever you want to this turd. It's still a turd. Like, I'll buy it. I'll buy that turd because I'll buy it really cheap, So if somebody's doing property management on their own, they got to get out of their own way and grow. And, it's like that you're going to be receiving phone calls, all these things. People want to learn more. They can, check me out.
That sounds good. So, yeah, one more question on that. So when somebody is looking for a property management company, I know that you're great, but what are the things that people should look out for that are kind of like the red flags? Or what would you say, because other people in the industry, if somebody's looking around and, how do they know when they have a good company, or does everybody have to just kind of try people out and there's really no way to tell?
Well, 90% of our portfolio are investors that are out of state. Probably of that 90%, I've never even met the people. So just talk to them over the phone, build a relationship. And that's really what it is communication, right? Like, if you come out of the gate, I was looking for property management software years ago, and I checked out 3 different places, 3 different companies that I liked. There was one that was really, really good in the communication, getting back to me and answering all my questions. The other 2 sucked. Guess which one I went with? So communication is key. That is like the most important part in that business. The second is just vacancy, right? Vacancy kills cash flow. So you got that vacancy, it's going to cost you literally thousands of dollars if you can't keep that tenant in place. And that's what we want to do, is we want to keep that tenant in place. And third is your turnover cost. So, it could be $700, it could be $3,000. So those are 3 big ones right there. But on top of it all, stack it on top, communication is huge.
Well, I think also when people are looking, it's looking for a company that has systems in place.
Yeah. and always a good referral. Somebody that's been with them for at least 2 years, because chances are that that person has already been through maybe a turnover, has been through maintenance, has been through 2 years of seasons here in the Midwest. Like they got a really good feel of this, if this property manager is good. And we've got plenty of people that have been with us for years that have no problem. They're actually, one guy's like really loves talking me up. So he's my main guy there.
That's good. Yeah, I love those people. So they're so important to every business. So, and y'all are in Chicago. So what kind of trends are you noticing right now, like especially Marisa in the retail market? What are things, like right now? And then what do you just kind of expect to happen as we finish out the year?
Well, I think as I'm hearing from everybody that we know all over the country, we're all seeing the same thing right now in the retail side. I'm slammed busy. The prices are out of control. The inventory is very low and the demand is very high. So we're getting, 5-6 offers on a property as soon as it's listed. Not having to put as much work into properties right now that we would have had to before to get them in selling condition. So even with rehab projects, it's busy. I do not expect it to stay that way. I've been in this industry long enough to see the patterns, but we'll ride this wave while it's here, and then we'll be there to pick up the other side of it when it slows down. But the prices won't continue to go up like they are now. They just can't. So these interest rates are amazing. So.
And then Marisa, have you seen migration? Y'all are in Chicago, and it's obviously a big city, and some cities have been affected differently by what's been going on in the economy. And like in New York, there's been kind of a migration out of the city into New Jersey and some of the suburbs. Are y'all seeing that there too?
Yeah, same thing's happening here. The suburbs are getting eaten up. That's the inventory is going very quickly. The market times in the city for condos are longer and growing. I just ran a report last week for somebody in the city that, just in the last 5 months, market times increased and prices are dropping on condos. So it's the opposite of what's happening in the suburbs. And yes, for that reason.
And you've said that in a downturn in the economy, the condos are the first thing to get hit, to suffer.
Yeah.
Which I didn't know that. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, they take the first hit and the longest recovery.
Yeah.
Okay, so condos are not necessarily where you want to be during a downturn.
Well, yeah, a condo would be something you want for the long haul.
Right. Okay, I got you. Mike, what about your investors? Are you seeing an increased activity, of kind of a holding pattern? What are the investors doing as far as their search, or just business as usual? What are investors doing right now, in response to all the uncertainty that's going on?
Yeah, they're just hanging on, man. They're hanging on. We've got a good retention for rents coming in. Even through COVID, it's been really good. Actually, even with my own portfolio, I believe next month, in less than 10 days, I will be 100% occupied in my own portfolio. So, everybody needs a place to live, work, play, or lay. You can't get around it, but you got to pay where you stay. So they got to, it's really, really good. The investors are staying. We've got a handful. I look at real estate investors like flies on a screen door, those waiting to get in and those waiting to get out. So, we're here for both, and we're here for even, in between, like the property management end of things. So if they want to come in, we've got inventory. If they want to get out, we'll sell your property for you. So, we're here for them.
Did you notice that Mike has a lot of sayings?
I do. I like them. Yeah, it's very cool. You got a good memory. You're like an elephant. You got an elephant memory. So Mike, in some states, there's been eviction, moratoriums. It varies all over the country. Thinking of the Northeast, what is the tenant-landlord relationship like in the Chicago area, and has it changed at all with the recent developments?
Well, tenant landlord, we're a tenant friendly state. Chicago is like the state, you know. I just heard somebody say it's like Chicago's like an HOA. I just thought that was so funny. I'm still laughing about it, but it's just, but like the courts have been closed down. They're doing court on Zoom, you know. Finally, they're doing court on Zoom, yeah. And actually, from what I'm seeing, they're in favor of the landlord. Yeah, I mean, like, you know, like they're putting the hammer down on these tenants. I'm like, I like this. However, I don't know when. Hopefully none of my tenants are hearing this, but I don't know when, because even if the judge like gives us possession, it's called possession, doesn't mean like, hey, now you've got possession of the house. Now it goes to the sheriff and sits on a stack of papers there, and you got to wait for that. And the sheriff's not doing eviction, so their stack is just getting a lot higher and higher. And then we're getting closer and closer to cold weather, and when it gets below 32, they don't do evictions. And then they shut it down for Christmas, and you know, it's like, you know, yeah. So it's quite the journey. Thank God we don't have a lot of that in our pipeline.
Right.
You know, and there's you know, the government has provided grants for, you know, they have people at the tenants have to apply for them. We complete the paperwork too, and they can get up to a $5,000 grant towards their rent, which is, you know, puts us in a greater position. So yeah, I'd say all in all, it's been, I mean, for ourselves, it's been positive. You know, for somebody that doesn't, like we talked earlier, that doesn't know anything about property management or just got one or two doors, woo, you know, like that whole period, if somebody had a Fannie conventional loan, like you can't even give them a 5-day notice. You know, 2 properties out of all my own portfolio are all commercial or cash. So damn right they're getting a 5-day notice, you know? So, but yeah, that's where we're at in Chicago.
Yeah, so it sounds like now more than ever, if you don't know what the rules are and you're just, you know, the landlord with, you know, a little tool belt fixing the leaky sink, you're gonna get you know, really taken advantage of, you know, potentially. And then also tenant screening and really like being pro about that and getting the most qualified tenant in this kind of climate. And I mean, any market it's like just one of those fundamentals, like you said, that if you don't have it, it's just a matter of time before you're not going to want to do this anymore. And then you're not going to get the cash flow.
It's not like I woke up and said, wow, I can't wait to be a property manager. Like, no, not now, not ever. That's why I hire people that are smarter than me that can do this stuff, because I don't like it. I don't like it at all. I love the cash flow. That's why I got involved into it. But the property management end of things, you got to give to somebody else that knows what they're doing. Even of serving a 5-day notice. If you serve it the wrong way and you go to court, the judge will drop it. You got to start all over. And that's a long process. So just one little thing like that, if you don't know what you're doing, talk about headaches, man. Talk about a lot of money and time.
And if somebody wants to reach out to you, what is the best? We'll put your contact info down in the notes, but if we could just call it out now, what's the best way for folks to reach out to you, whether it's you know, investing in Chicagoland and doing and needing help with the property management? They have a house in the area that they just want to sell, cash, or somebody who needs help from a, you know, experienced realtor that adds the value. What's the best way they can reach out to y'all and do that?
So they can just go to mfcashflow.com.
Okay, cool.
mfcashflow.com.
mfcashflow.com, and then all your info's there. Super.
Yeah.
Well, you guys are awesome today. You guys, everybody watching, check these folks out. Mike and Marisa are slaying it in Chicagoland. If you need help and want to reach out or understand what they're doing with their book and see what they're doing on their property management side, they've got some pretty good videos too. They've got some great content. You guys are amazing content creators yourselves. So check out their content, and I think that you'll be impressed. Thanks for coming on today.
Thanks, Max.